Hi everybody, it's Debbie. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another video from our YouTube hop using Creating with Sketches. This month we are using one-page sketch number 1, and it's a very simple sketch. I can't share it with you again because it's paid content, but it's a very simple sketch. And sometimes those are the hardest ones for me to work with. So it's basically a block inside of a very wide frame and some embellishments in the corners. I struggled with this because it was so simple, but this is the photo that I plan to use. This is from Christmas, my little grandson with the tree, and I love this photo. I didn't want to use traditional Christmas red and green because the colors are very subdued. It's the gray and the green and black. So I wanted to keep that feeling that the photo had. So I went through some of my papers, and this one I found, it came from a paper pad. Don't know from where, sorry about that, but it's a very dark green, and the snowflakes are not pure white. They're sort of a grayish color, so I thought that went really well with this photo. So what I ended up doing was cutting another piece of paper. This is from Cartabella, I think the line, let me see if I can find the name of it. No, it's not here. Where is it? Home for Christmas, I think? Yeah, Home for Christmas. So it's this great dark green and black, sort of a plaid, a diagonal plaid. And the original sketch did call for a smaller square. It called for like a 9x9 in the center. That was a little too much for me, too much space around the outside. So I cut another square. I think I did 10x10, and I will be matting that this way. So this will be the basis of the sketch. And then I went to matte the photo. You can see I put a black mat on there, but I didn't want white because, again, these are not pure white. So I found a gray. This is actually a very pale gray, and then another medium gray that I thought worked well. And I used some stitch dies from my big set here. These are enormous, but this is a set of dies from Creative Expressions. So my plan is to mat this on the 2 layers of stitched rectangles and put them over to the left side because he is facing the right, so I want him facing into the page. And I don't want it centered. I think that's just, it looks better off to the left once I get that glued down. And then the embellishments were in each corner. And this is where I struggled because I wasn't really sure what to use for embellishments. The collection comes with a lot of different things. I have the ephemera, I have the brads, but I didn't feel like I wanted to bring any red in. I really wanted to stick to this black, green, and gray. So I did find one brad off this pack, and then I had to go looking. They had a cut-apart sheet, which I really liked this. May your days be merry and bright. I may end up matting it to pop it up, but that's going to go over here. That'll be my title. And then I started playing around with some of my dies. And I used, this die is from Sizzix. It came with a huge set. It had little woodland animals, it had banners, it had the words Merry Christmas, all kinds of stuff. It is the number 663184. And it's a nice big tree. So what I wanted to do was put it over here to make a kind of a scene over here, stack them together. And I did edge this with hickory smoke distress ink. So I brought that gray, it pulled it away from the background a little bit more. And then I wanted to do something with the lights on the tree. And I have this die from Memory Box, Flowering Christmas. This is really old, and if you were a customer at my store, you probably have this because I use this in so many card classes I can't even recall. But I love this particular die, so I thought maybe I would layer that over the top of the other 2 trees and bring that the lights, the silver, into this. Now the one thing I don't like is this black showing, so I am going to strategically cut off that black piece of cardstock behind there so that it doesn't show through. It bothered me. And then I have this corner, and I'm not really sure what to do with, so I went back to my dies because I do have a ton of dies and I love using them. And I found another Sizzix set, which is this one here, 664705. And it has, these are part of another one, but it has all these little sprays and bows. So I really like that. And so I ended up cutting a bunch of pieces here from the green. And again, I used the hickory smoke to edge them. So I'm going to put those together. I have all these little guys. Oops, that's my bow. So this, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I'll stick them down with, once I get going, and I'll make them nice and neat, put them together, make a nice cluster there. And then this was one of the little bows that they had in the set, so I can bring the silver up there. And then I had this bow, which is really cool. It's actually a 2-piece die. It has the top and the ribbons, and then it has another piece that you glue on to make the bottom of the bow, and it's really cute. So I cut that out of the same mirror paper, and I think I'm going to put that there. So that's as far as I've got. I'm going to glue everything down, and then I will come back and see what else I can add. Be right back. So I wanted to pop back on before I got everything glued together because I decided that I wanted to stitch around this black piece of cardstock. I think it'll give it a little more interest. So I pulled out my ruler that has piercing holes on it, and I will use my handy dandy pokey tool here to go through and poke holes. I want to do, it's about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. So I'm just going to go through and poke all the holes, and then I will stitch it up, and I'll be back. So this didn't really end up being a process video. I did most of the work off camera. In fact, I think I did all the work off camera. And I made it a lot more complicated than it needed to be. I did add the stitching. I used a dark gray floss instead of black because I thought it showed up better. And I did my dies. I did have to go back and cut a few more of the foliage here because it wasn't quite big enough to take up the space. And then I made myself crazy by actually pop dotting using dimensional adhesive on this tiny, skinny little die cut. And the only way I could do that is I use these 3D foam micro squares from Scrapbook Adhesives. They are the tiniest. They are, what does it say? I think they're like 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter. They're tiny. Let me show you one. If I can get one off, that's 2. That's how tiny they are, really. If you put them on the, you can fit 4 of them in a 1/4 inch grid. They're tiny. So I ended up putting those on. I had wanted to add some sparkle to the page, and I did use the clear Wink of Stella pen to splatter some. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up or not. And then I wasn't really crazy about it. I kept thinking there was like dust on the page or something. So I went back and found some confetti that I had that I was going to use, and I put it up here, and then I didn't like that. So then I really went a little crazy. And I had this confetti, this star confetti. Do you see how tiny these are? This. They're super tiny, like the end of a pin. Some of these are no bigger, actually are much smaller than the head of a pin. Yeah, I think I'm nuts. But anyway, I ended up putting those on onto the trees, and so it gave a little bit of sparkle. I did put one of the brads up here in the corner and finished it off that way. It's okay. I'm not 100% loving it. I think I should have skipped the Wink of Stella and the these little hexagon confetti. Those I'm not loving, but they're on there and they're done, so that's that. I'm back, and look what I did. I couldn't stand it. I really didn't like the way the page turned out, so I pulled it apart. I'm going to redo it. I did save the stuff that I could. The photo came off, this came off, and most of this section came off. Some of this came off, not all of it, because I had some of it glued down. But I'm going to redo the whole stinking thing because I really don't like it. It bothered me, all that confetti that I put on and the Wink of Stella. So I cut a new piece of paper, and I'm starting the stitching again. So hopefully I will like it when it's finished this time, after I make some changes. So stay tuned. All right, so I'm back, and I did a little bit. I did restitch the whole thing. I moved my pieces in so that this is overlapping the photo a little bit. I did manage to salvage this, but it is popping up on this side. So I have these black foam squares, which I absolutely love when I'm working on darker colors. So I'm going to put a couple of those under there to hold it in place. There we go. Maybe need another one down there. Stick them in there. Okay, there we go. Now, this corner up here. Here's my old one. So, on this one, I had used these greenery dies from Tim Holtz and a Sizzix one. This time when I looked at that one, the size of it, I felt like it was too small. So, I have the exact same die in a larger size. So, that was the mini holiday greenery, and this is just holiday greenery. So, I've cut it out of a couple of different colors. That's the big one. I cut the big one out of this color. So that's going to take up a lot more space. And then I went back and I used the smaller one. I have a bunch of different colors here. Because I want to add a little bit different color to it. I have not inked these yet. I still have to go ink them. I just think that it's going to look better if it's fuller. And this was the piece that was on top before, and I didn't take it apart because it was pretty well stuck together, and I have all those tiny little glue foam squares on there, and I don't really want to have to do that again. So when I'm done with this, it'll go on. But do you see what I mean by needing different color? When I put this on top, it's just really bland. So I had the idea to grab a little bit different color. I have a couple of them there, and it helps give it a little more dimension. So I'm going to go glue those on, see what else needs to be done. And I just realized I put that all in the wrong corner. Look, the stitching is over here. That was supposed to be this corner. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry for that quick jump in the edit right there when I realized that I had not stitched that lower right-hand corner. I'm pretty sure I said a bad word. So anyway, you'll see me inking up the greenery here. I will glue it down, most of it off camera, and you will see the final result. I don't normally redo my layouts, but this one was one I just couldn't live with. So please remember that this is part of a YouTube hop, and there are several other creators listed below that would enjoy having you visit them and leave them some love. I hope that you enjoyed this, and you can see that I make mistakes too, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for joining me.